next. He does such a great job covering the Eagles for the Inquirer, Inquirer.com. Experience the new look of Inquirer Sports, where fans can read, watch, and listen to their favorite reporters and columnists. Go to Inquirer.com/sports. Of course, also has the great podcast, Uncovering the Birds. Our man Jeff McLane joins us. Jeff, good morning. How are we doing today?
Hey, guys. Has anyone asked Topper why Romano's still on the roster?
Yeah. Well,
I think you have to ask Dave Dombrowski that question.
Well, no,
Just a guess.
Unless there's cue cards there for Topper, he can't answer that.
Yeah, that's a good point. We're all waiting, Jeff. We're all waiting for that answer or the official word when he's no longer on the roster.
Needs to be asked.
Speaking of needing to be asked, I'll ask you, what's the deal with cornerback number 2? Apparently we had a little bit of a shift in terms of snaps yesterday at practice. Is that correct?
Well, it's kind of been going in that direction, I'd say, for like the last week plus, with Ringo just not getting as much with the first team, and then, right yesterday, not getting any, in fact. So, we'll see, how that plays out here over the next few days. They have 2 more days of practice that will be open to reporters before the final preseason game. Vic Fangio said yesterday that he thinks the cornerback competition and the other competitions on defense will go through the final preseason game, I think, as expected. But, yeah, I mean, Ringo, you guys saw it in the first preseason game, not as much in the second preseason game. We've seen it out here at practice. Just the inconsistency has been an issue. And clearly I think that's affecting how they're distributing snaps right now. I mean, even Mac McWilliams, the rookie, got a few yesterday. Jacorian Bennett didn't get any with the first team yesterday, but I'd imagine we may see him in there today. I thought he actually played pretty well in the second preseason game. And, most significantly, we saw Cooper DeJean there for the first time at outside cornerback, only in base personnel, and Vic said that it probably is going to take a lot for him to stay there permanently, as opposed to the nickel, in the slot in nickel. But I wouldn't rule it out.
I wonder, Jeff, if the other day we see them going out and making a deal for a wide receiver that I'd like to hear you talk about a little bit. But if this is just going to be one of maybe a couple deals that Howie makes as you go over roster cuts all around the NFL.
Deals, picking up guys off waivers right after roster cutdowns next Tuesday. There'll be movement, as there always is with Howie Roseman. He's already made a couple trades here in camp, a couple minor ones, but nevertheless, he's added some new bodies. I don't know how significant the moves can be, depending upon what the Eagles have to forfeit. They do have draft picks, a fair amount of them, in the next year, or even beyond that. So it's possible that cornerback, safety, those will probably be the primary 2 in terms of the competition. I wouldn't rule out edge rusher. I think that is a position of need in terms of depth. But, I think that we'll see how that plays out. I mean, we all know how he's willing to pull the trigger.
Why is it an area of depth for edge rusher? I agree with you, by the way. That's one of my concerns hanging into this team. Is it they're not getting as much as they thought they'd get out of the combination of Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt, or is it more so Azeez Ojulari and Josh Uche?
I don't think they're concerned about the first 2. I'd be in terms of like the experience and whether they've gone out there and proven it enough, and if they hit dry spells, what happens. But the depth, Josh Uche's flashed here and there. Azeez Ojulari's come on of late. Beyond that, who knows? But there's not really an ace at that spot, and you don't necessarily need to have it when you have Jalen Carter in the middle. He'll draw double teams, and if you get a fair enough number of one-on-ones on the edges, you're going to win a few of those. But that's a position of great importance in any scheme. Maybe not as much in Vic Fangio's, but yeah, I'm not saying something has to get done before the start of the season, but it may be that they see how that plays out for the month or 2, and then as they get closer to trade deadline, that could be when Howie does make the move there.
Jeff, do you find when you look now at the way this team's rounded into shape, the first month of the schedule to be especially challenging, pretty much par for the course, or otherwise? I look at it as a little daunting.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to stand back and look at it as a fan or a reporter, I don't think they're looking beyond the first week. But
Sure.
yeah, I mean, the Cowboys. Say what you want about last season or how they've handled contract situations. There's still a lot of talent there. That is not going to be a cakewalk. And then you got to go on the road against the Chiefs, and then you got to go, and then you're hosting with the Rams, a team that some people have predicted to come out of the NFC, and the Bucks have been to the playoffs how many years and have given the Eagles their share of travails in their meetings over the years. So yeah, not an easy opening month, but the Eagles want to just get to week one and then they'll move on from there.
The Inquirer's Jeff McLane joins us here on the Comcast Business Hotline. Speaking of trades, the Eagles acquired John Mechie over the weekend. What did you make of that trade? Why the Eagles did it, and what does that mean for some of the other guys that are competing for roster spots at the receiver position?
Yeah, I don't think it says very much about the other guys on the roster. I think it was one of those deals where, hey, give us your guy that we need that isn't going to make the roster. I think it was more kind of the Texans reaching out to the Eagles. Howie's done a lot of deals with Nick Caserio, GM of the Texans. It was probably Caserio reaching out to Howie. Hey, what do you have? We need a tight end. We know you have some depth there. Harrison Bryant, I thought clearly wasn't going to make the roster. They have some other guys there to fill that third tight end spot in Kylan Granson or E.J. Jenkins. Bryant hasn't really stood out. He's done it in the league a little bit, so okay, yeah, we'll give you Bryant, but we need something in return. Okay, well, we have a guy that we don't think is going to make the roster. Mechie. Okay, we'll take him. We can certainly use some wide receiver depth. We want to push some of these younger guys. No one's really locked in beyond the number 3 spot. Bring him in. Let's give him a look-see and see what happens. This is a guy that has the pedigree, certainly Alabama product. Former second-round pick who just hasn't really kind of caught on with the Texans, not really produced much in his first few seasons. Let's see what he can do here, and then we'll go from there.
All right, Jeff. Listen, man, we appreciate the time as always. Keep up the great
16
work.
days, Jeff.
Yep, 16 days where we actually get to talk about the 53-man roster. I'm sure you're excited for that as well.